You ever walk up your own driveway and feel like you just stepped into the middle of somebody else's circus? I slammed my truck door so hard the mirror nearly popped off because what I was seeing didn't even compute. Balloons on my white fence, cars on my grass, and a bunch of folding chairs lined up like it was a 4th of July cookout. Except there, right in the driveway, was a makeshift auction stage. And up on my porch, a sign big as day, live property auction. Today only. My heart about burst right out of my chest. And who's at the center of all this? Karen Peterson, of course, queen of the Amber Ridge HOA, looking like she's about to present the Derby trophy. Hair stacked up and sunglasses so big you'd think she was hiding from the FBI. Her smirk vanished the second she saw me step out of my truck. She hustled down from the porch like she had somewhere more important to be and hissed, "You're not supposed to be here," as if I was the trespasser on my own land. Now, you have to understand, I bought my ranch exactly to avoid HOAs. 15 years in the Air Force taught me how to read contracts, so when I settled down on 20 acres outside Amber Ridge, I checked every line, hired a lawyer, double-checked boundaries. My land was clearly, legally, not in any HOA. That was the point. But Karen, she never did like boundaries. Not real ones anyway. 5 days I'd been gone, helping my sister in Oregon after surgery. That's it. But that's all Karen needed. She called 911 the minute I set foot in my own driveway, putting on a whole show. "There's a man here. He's threatening us at the auction." Like I was some outlaw, not the property owner. Sure enough, sirens started wailing in the distance. Let me back up a sec. First time I met Karen, she came bearing cookies and a clipboard. "These are the HOA rules," she said, all sugar. "Just sign here." I told her, politely as I could, my ranch isn't in the HOA. Her smile froze, and it was like I'd kicked her dog. After that, it was a steady drip of notices, letters about painting my barn the right color, pamphlets about joining the HOA for community protection. And one day, I caught her snooping around my chicken coop. She claimed she was checking for zoning violations. It was never dash ending .so. You better believe when I saw her trying to auction my house, I just about lost it. I marched right up to the auctioneer, showed my ID, and told him the sale was a scam. But he just shrugged, said the paperwork was in order, talked to the HOA. By now the cops had arrived, and Karen, of course, put on her most innocent act. "He's trespassing, officer." We tried to reach him. He abandoned the land. It's being reclaimed. They almost believed her, until my ranch hand, Mark, came running from the pasture, waving a manila envelope he'd just found near my office. Inside, a forged power of attorney with my signature on it. Karen had planned the whole thing. If that fake had slipped through, she could have sold my ranch out from under me. I handed it over to the officers. For a second, even Karen lost her composure. Right about then, the sheriff showed up. Sheriff Doyle, a big man with a slow walk and a slower drawl, but sharp as barbed wire. He took one look at the auction, the forged document, and Karen, and asked, "What in God's name is going on here?" Karen tried to bluff, claimed the land was abandoned, that the HOA had every right to reclaim it. But Doyle wasn't buying. "This ranch isn't part of your HOA, and you know it, Karen. Reclamation? You're not a government agency." He had his deputies clear the crowd and told Karen she'd be coming in for a talk. She protested, but the writing was on the wall. Just as things calmed down, though, chaos hit again, smoke pouring from the barn. Mark yelled, "Someone set it on fire." I saw 2 kids running. We managed to put it out with help from the neighbors and the fire department, but the barn was a goner. The sheriff looked at Karen, who just stared at the ground, cheeks burning. "Hope your name's not tied to this," Doyle said. Now, in the ashes of all that mess, I started thinking, Karen couldn't have pulled this off alone. That's when I remembered Kyle, the temp I'd hired to help with paperwork, who'd been around just before I left. Later that night, I saw a light on in my barn office. I walked in. There's Kyle, pale as a ghost, rifling through my files. He swore Karen told him it was authorized, promised him a job, paid him to forge my signature. I told him straight, "You understand how serious this is?" He crumbled, Said he kept all her instructions, emails, texts, even voice memos, just in case she tried to cut him out. So I got him to hand everything over to the sheriff. The evidence was all there. Threats, detailed plans, even Karen's own voice ordering the forgeries. It was enough to put her behind bars for a long time. But just when I thought the nightmare was over, two black SUVs rolled up next morning. HOA legal counsel and his goons. Boundary lines are shifting, they said. Maybe the land is HOA after all. I laughed in his face, told him to hit the road. But before the dust could settle, Mark brought me a flyer. Emergency HOA meeting, voting to claim my ranch as theirs. Even after all this. And the worst part? Some neighbors were buying Karen's lies, thinking I'd abandoned the place. 5 years I'd lived here, fixed fences, helped at fundraisers. But that's all it took for suspicion to spread. So I decided to show up at the meeting. Mark came with me. Amber Ridge Clubhouse, packed with folks. Tom Peterson, Karen's husband, running the show. I walked to the front, binder in hand, laid out my case. Maps, deeds, tax records, security footage of Karen's fake auction. Gasps all around. People started turning on the board. "Why are we here?" someone yelled. Tom tried to control the room, but the crowd wanted none of it. Someone called for him to step down. It was chaos. Mark just grinned at me. "You really lit a fire under them." I told him, "Not yet." No sooner did I get home than Doyle called. Karen made bail, and she's coming for round 2. Her Range Rover skidded into my driveway like she was in a movie, hair wild, makeup streaked, screaming at me, waving a new emergency claim. But the sheriff and his deputies rolled up right behind her. "We've got your voice memos, your forgeries, your fingerprints," Doyle told her. Karen, still shouting she was the real victim, was cuffed and hauled away. This time, no bail. That I'd love to tell you that was the end, but the next morning I got an email. Now the HOA was filing a claim on my access road, trying to cut me off from the highway. I got on the phone with my lawyer, Angela Burke. If you ever need to fight an HOA, you want her in your corner. She subpoenaed records, old maps, got statements from the family who built the road. We even caught Ben Pritchard, the HOA treasurer, sneaking up in the dead of night to plant a fake HOA property sign on my driveway. This time, we had him on camera. Angela filed harassment complaints and a restraining order before sunrise. Week by week, Angela filed suits. The sheriff kept up the heat, and HOA members started quitting left and right. Karen sat in jail as the charges piled up. Ben was arrested for arson after we caught him torching my second shed and scrawling "sell or burn" on the wall. The whole thing made the local news. HOA board implodes amid ranch scandal. Neighbors, the same ones who doubted me, came by to apologize, brought food, offered to help rebuild. For the first time since this madness began, it felt like community again. Final court hearing. Judge gave it to them straight. Never seen such an abuse of power by a neighborhood board. The ranch's easement made fully private. HOA's petitions denied. Karen and her crew done for good. I stood on the courthouse steps, told the reporters, I didn't fight just for me. I fought so nobody else around here would get bullied off their land. Angela clapped my shoulder. You did good, Dan. Now, the new shed stands where the old one burned. The cameras are still up, and a big sign at the gate says, Private Ranch. Not HOA property. Owner, Daniel Carter, U.S. veteran. We don't sell. We don't run. Mark asked if I thought that would scare anybody off. I just smiled and looked at my land. It's not about scaring anybody. It's about reminding folks, truth stands when everything else falls. You can't steal what someone earned with sweat and grit. So next time you drive past Amber Ridge and see that white fence and my sign, remember, some things are worth standing your ground for. Never mess with the wrong rancher. You know what I mean? If you got a story like this, or you've been run over by folks with more power than sense, tell us below. Where do you stand on the line between rules and what's right? Let's talk about justice, about fighting back, about community. Because sometimes, all it takes is one stubborn neighbor to change everything.